What's up, guys? John Apiata for the Growth Network, and this is episode 1. Today we're going to be talking about real estate, and on this conversation I'm just going to cover my own experience, my own journey, or my wife and I's, and hopefully that helps on your journey, and it's, if you're going through something similar. So we first got started in the real estate game in around 2017, I believe, or 2016. Somewhere around there. It was about 9 or 8 years ago. At the time, we actually didn't have really good credit. We had bad credit. I think I had a little lingering debt. When we previously lived over in Australia, there was a little phone bill that was completely missed, and then it raised a red flag. I think the debt was only like $50. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to create a red flag. Also, at that time, we were just started our new building business. For a bit of context, I've been in the building industry for over 20 years now, and at the time we had just started our business, and I think we're about a year in. So those were two real difficult things to navigate in relation to trying to get a mortgage or get a bank to give us the lending that we required to buy a house. We also didn't have a deposit because we were obviously all our money was invested into our building company, and so we were lucky enough that our parents had gifted us our deposit, which was great. It was a massive opportunity. So I would advise, if your parents are in a position and they're offering you, they're gifting you money for a deposit for a property, then grab it with both hands, and that's what we did. You got to also be ready when those opportunities are presented to you. You got to make sure that you're ready, and you're not wasting, the other person's time, whoever's helping you. And we were ready, we were motivated. So we had the deposit, and we managed to secure a loan from a third tier lender through a mortgage broker. Now this mortgage broker was recommended to us, but that was actually a mistake. The first mistake that I learned about getting involved in real estate. This broker actually charged us a fee on top of the commission that they received from a bank. So moving forward, I understood that we should not be getting charged a fee from a broker. A broker gets paid from the bank. That's their job and their responsibility. So essentially we got ripped off. So that was our first lesson. It was an extra $5 or $6 that we had to pay out of our own pocket that we shouldn't have required to do that. But anyway, we were just motivated to get the house. We said yes to whatever we needed to do to secure our first property. Our goal for our first house was to basically renovate it and flip it. It was not our forever home. So that's another quick tip from me, is when you're first looking, if it's your first property or whatever property it is, to be honest, make sure you have a plan of what's the purpose of purchasing this house. Is it our forever home? Are we renovating it? Are we just staying there temporarily? Are we going to buy it to rent it out? Is it an investment property? You need to establish what that purchase looks like before you go and look. Our purpose was to renovate it and then flip it and then move on to the next step. So we purchased this house. We had 3 kids at this stage, and during that process, we renovated the property, and that took us around 7 months. Remember, we had just started a building business, so I've got that in the background that I'm doing. We're renovating this house. We've got 3 kids. We're juggling a lot of things. But we were motivated, and we were ready to go. We were ready to rumble. After 7 months, the same agent that we met up with when we purchased this property, he gave us a bit of a tip on another property in a better area. Not the best area, but better than where we were. Also, before I move too far ahead, the house that we got was basically the only option we had, and we were happy. It was in the worst area. It was run down. It was a duplex. Next door was a state home, so we didn't know who our next door neighbours were. It didn't worry us. We were happy. We were ready to go because we realised it was a stepping stone. So don't think that don't think that you need to have the flashiest house straight off the bat. Every step you take towards getting into real estate, it's just a stepping stone, and that's what it was for us. So moving back, he presented an opportunity for another house in a better area. We went and had a look, and this house was run down, and it ticked a lot of boxes for us. And the reason why is because it had 2 dwellings on it. And the reason he came to us off market, because I don't think there would have been any other interest. You had to be pretty brave to take on this project. It was essentially a pull down sort of a project where the house was in such a bad condition. But for me, that was ticking boxes for us on the next step. So we put the house that we just renovated on the market after 7 months. We managed to sell that and make a profit of around 25% to 30% on that property. And we used that to get started on renovations on the other property that we just put an offer in and won as well. So we purchased essentially the other house that I'm mentioning for the same price as we bought our first one. Okay, so it was another stepping stone. Before we purchased this other house, we had to work out how much it was going to cost to renovate the 2 dwellings and how much it would be after we renovated the smaller portion of this property. And the reason I needed to work that out is because I knew our capital that we made from the first house is only going to take us so far into the second house. And what I mean by that is there's 2 dwellings, 1 and 2. This one here was a smaller unit. It was only a 1-bedroom unit. So the funds that we made from our first purchase, we used that to renovate this unit. Once we completed the renovations, the plan was then to get a property valuation. And with that property valuation, we go to the bank, get lending to do up the front house because it was a bigger project. And that's what we did. Okay, so we worked all those numbers out before we actually looked at buying it. And my advice to you is, depending on what your plan is, if your plan is to do renovations, buy it and flip it, or do renovations to live in it long term, you need to make sure that you have the funds to be able to do those renovations. So you have to work out how much it will roughly cost. Ask a family member that's in the building industry. Ask someone that you know that has carried out a renovation. They'll be able to give you a ballpark figure so that you know what you're in for. That also helps you negotiate with how much you can offer on property as well initially. So that's what we did for our second house. We renovated the back. We got a property valuation, and then the property valuation came back as expected, higher than the purchase price. And the equity we gained, we used that to get lending to do up the front house. Now, the amount that we needed to lend on top of the purchase price was around 50% of what we bought the property for. And with those funds, we completed and carried out the renovation, or near completion. And we then were looking for our next move, our next sort of plan. And the next plan, to be honest, at that stage was actually to find a house to settle into, because the amount of renovations that went into the second property was just astronomical. I was buggered. It was so tough. It almost broke me, to be honest, and I almost regretted it over and over and over again. But we got there in the end. So our next phase was to find a more suitable house for our family, because we now have 4 children. Our business is still going. And an opportunity came up just outside of the town that we were living in. And this was a real unique opportunity, and it wasn't on the market long, and we knew we had to strike quick because we've had a feeling it will get snapped up. This property was a rural property but had potential of changing to residential zoning, just based on our research that we had carried out. So because of those reasons, we then listed this property, the one that we just finished. We were there for about 4 years or 5 years. This was during COVID as well. We've done all these renovations. So from that point, we put it on the market, and we went to auction, and we only had one bidder, but that bidder got it over the line, and we have managed to sell that for more than, I think, double, or maybe about 120% more than what we purchased the property for. So we made good money on this. All the money we made from that, we threw it straight into this next property because of the potential and what it could potentially mean for us. So we didn't celebrate and then go and buy ourselves a new car or anything like this, buy us flash, anything like that. No, we put it straight into the next property because that was our goal. So we're in this property. We're currently in it now. We're still in it, and in this property here, we've been in here for about 3 years. Before we came here, we rang planners. We got advice from developers, and to see if this was the right move for us. And it was a really high. It was a really high risk, probably higher risk than the other ones, just because of the amount of money that's on the line. But we took it anyway. 3 years later, which was about 6 months ago, the zoning from this property went from rural to residential. Now that's the risk that we took when we come here, and I believe that every level from our first property to the next one, to the one we're currently in, every property that you, if you're scaling up and you're improving and you're purchasing higher and higher, they all have different types of challenges. The first house we purchased was just hard work, getting in there, getting on the ladder, working hard, making a quick buck, and then moving to the next one. Essentially, the next one is the same thing, but just a larger scale, and then more than likely need to get more additional funding from the bank in some scenarios. So your repayments are probably going to be higher as well. And then the one we're in now is just a whole nother kettle of fish, which I'm experiencing. Haven't quite figured it out yet, mastered. But I believe that every stage of real estate investments, or because that's what real estate is to me. They're an investment. They're an investment for your kids. That in some cases they can be liabilities as well, because you've over leveraged. You've got something that you bought something and then it's lost value. So you've got to be careful when you get involved in the real estate game. I'm no guru. I'm not saying I know what I'm talking about. But I'm lucky that I have skills of 20 years of experience of being in the building game. Every property that we've purchased has increased in value, even during the peak COVID hit and then the decline in the real estate game. Our property, or the one that we're currently in, is close to almost doubling again, just like the second one. So, there's risks in the game, and I just wanted to share our story, just a quick overview of sort of our journey and where we're at today, and then hopefully that helps you on your journey.